Protests erupt in Phoenix over the weekend as Joe Biden is declared the projected winner of the White House.
Plus, we take you to D.C., where voters celebrated Biden's apparent victory.
And on Break It Down, what resilience in sports can teach us about getting through tough times.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Mackenzie Allen-Charmley.
And I'm Dylan McKim. Thank you for joining us. After a weekend of celebrations, the Biden-Harris team is getting to work. The president-elect's team has plans to tackle top priorities starting today. Meanwhile, President Trump has yet to concede the race, and his Arizona supporters are standing their ground. Biden hit the 270 mark over the weekend by winning Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes. That's a state President Trump won back in 2016. As of 3 p.m. today, Biden stands at 290 electoral votes and Trump at 214, according to the Associated Press. A Biden win means for the first time ever, a woman will be the vice president, with Kamala Harris taking the reins. Joe Biden addressed the nation over the weekend in an effort to unify the country after a polarizing election.
We have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They're Americans. The Bible tells us to everything there is a season, a time to build, a time to reap and a time to sow, and a time to heal. This is the time to heal in America.
This is the third time Biden has run for president, the first being back in 1988. Meanwhile, President Trump shows no signs of conceding and continues to make accusations of electoral fraud.
Despite many Arizona races being called early on, there are still over 75,000 ballots in the state left to count. Of those still outstanding, Maricopa County accounts for more than 38,000 ballots and Pima County accounts for 18,000. While Biden has been projected to win Arizona, Trump made some gains over the weekend. Biden now only leads Trump by about 17,000 votes. In a statement released today, Governor Doug Ducey said, quote, "Our expectation is that we finish counting. We've been through this drill before in Arizona. Making it easy to vote and hard to cheat has also resulted in time-consuming efforts to ensure the integrity of our elections." We have full team coverage headed your way tonight.
Carolina Hassett is standing by in D.C. where celebrations took place over the weekend. Let's go first to Sean Rice here in Phoenix, where a much different scene played out on city streets. Sean?
Hundreds of President Trump supporters united at the Arizona Capitol Saturday afternoon for a planned Stop the Steal rally. Protesters gathered at the Arizona State Capitol during the pandemic. However, that didn't stop voters from getting out and having their voices be heard. Boris Epstein, a strategic advisor for President Donald Trump, explains the need for Republicans to mobilize and get their voices heard.
I wouldn't call it a protest. I would call it a show of enthusiasm for President Trump. It was much more of a rally, and the rallying cry is to count every legal vote in Arizona.
According to the Secretary of State's office, Joe Biden's lead over Trump in Arizona is under 17,000 votes, a margin that those close to the president think can be erased.
Absolutely. We are now at about 17,000 votes down, when Fox News wrongfully called it on election night. We were down about 200,000. Just think about that. Less than 10% remains of that difference. We've got about 80,000 to 100,000 votes still left to be released, the counts to be released. And we're very confident that when every legal vote is counted in Arizona and is disclosed in Arizona, President Trump will win the state of Arizona.
This weekend, President-elect Biden declared victory after Pennsylvania was called for the Democrat, and its 20 electoral college votes pushed him over the 270 mark.
The people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory.
A victory that the Trump campaign says is premature.
It's absolutely premature. No state has certified this election. There have been no electors appointed. It is absolutely premature. President Trump will win Arizona. She will end up winning Georgia, I'm confident. And we are absolutely tracking all the irregularities. In Michigan, you had 6,000 votes switch in one county, all irregularities in Pennsylvania. So I'm confident. Then once every legal vote is counted all across the country, President Trump will be determined to have won a second term.
The Secretary of State's office says the estimated 77,000 votes that they still have to count are mostly provisional ballots, and those will be processed until the deadline, Tuesday at 5 p.m. In the broadcast center, Sean Rice, Cronkite News.
President Trump isn't backing down either. Instead, he's taking the election results to court. Trump's campaign has already filed lawsuits in 5 states: Arizona, Pennsylvania, Nevada, Michigan, and Georgia. Here in the Valley, Trump's campaign and the Republican National Committee filed a lawsuit in Maricopa County, claiming election workers incorrectly rejected votes cast by in-person voters on Election Day. The lawsuit alleges when the voting machines detected an overvote on a ballot, poll workers told in-person voters to press a green button to override the error. This reportedly caused the machine to dismiss the voters' choices in the overvoted races. Republican Party of Arizona Chairwoman Kelly Ward released a statement today saying, quote, "This election is far from over. The American people are entitled to an honest election. That means counting all legal ballots and not counting any illegal ballots. We will not rest until the American people have the honest vote count they deserve and that our nation demands."
Well, despite Trump's claims of fraud, voters in D.C. took news of Biden's victory as true and took to the streets in celebration. Carolina Hassett joins us now from our Washington bureau to recap the weekend revelry.
It doesn't look like it now, but just 48 hours ago, the street behind me was packed with people celebrating Joe Biden's apparent victory, all within an earshot of the White House and President Donald Trump. It had all the feel of a massive block party, as thousands gathered here at Black Lives Matter Plaza in Washington to celebrate. After news outlets declared Biden the winner Saturday morning, many D.C. residents spontaneously took their enthusiasm to the streets.
Hearing the noise and excitement that was going on outside, it was hard to not be a part of this.
Mixed in with the excitement after days of anxiously watching the vote was another emotion: relief.
A sense of relief. I have been praying for days. I haven't slept for 2 or 3 days.
The fact that we've been able to declare winners has been really a relief.
Missing from the crowd here were any Trump supporters or counter-protesters. The celebration here was raucous, but peaceful.
I cannot express or figure out the last time that it was like this sort of environment for everyone living in D.C.
There's a lot of relief, there's a lot of happiness, there's a lot of joy, and I think sharing that with everyone who is either in D.C., is traveling from D.C., has just really felt comforting, and I'm really excited just about, what the next 4 years can bring.
Monica Wong was visiting friends in D.C. when she heard the news and could not wait to join the celebration.
Drank like 2 cups of coffee, high on caffeine, and just ready to run down here. And that's what I've been doing all day.
Not all people here are sold on Biden, but many said they voted for change and are looking forward to what the next 4 years will bring.
Less partisanship in Congress is really what I'm hoping for.
Amid most of the chanting, there was one message the celebrators wanted to get across.
This is what democracy looks like.
Global reaction to Saturday's announcement was also mixed. While some leaders have said they look forward to working with the Biden administration, the president of Mexico said today that he wants to wait until U.S. authorities decide the winner. In Washington, Carolina Hassett, Cronkite News.
With many ballots still left to be counted and races not officially called in Arizona, it's important to note that this newscast was taped earlier in the afternoon. At the time of our taping, the results we are reporting here were up to date. However, in a still fluid election season, results may change. To track the latest on election 2020 results, just go to our website, cronkitenews.azpbs.org.
The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall in Washington, D.C., completed in 1982, was designed by 21-year-old architecture student Maya Lin. Her concept was to honor those who fought in the Vietnam War by pulling back the earth and polishing the edges so the names would be prominent. Tina Giuliano shows us how volunteers ensure the wall is taken care of to honor the fallen heroes.
58,279. That's how many names are etched in the black granite at the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. Here, visitors come every day to pay their respects, while some visitors are volunteers paying their respect in a different way.
Every few Saturdays,
we got water.
A group of volunteers come to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall to wash it.
It's always such a humble experience and such a joy.
Hung Lee and her family have been volunteering here for about 10 years.
To me, it's also like washing away the dirt from the mine, clearing it, helping me to take in the sacrifice, what it took to give freedom.
The black granite requires a certain soap and specific sponges provided by the National Park Service.
Whether it is dust and pollen or birds that fly over or people anointing the wall with different materials, it is necessary to clean it on a regular basis. And that's why we do the wall washings from usually early April to mid-November.
It takes a couple of hours and many hands to finish the whole memorial. It's an act of service for those who visit the names engraved here.
Not only do we do this for the families and the buddies of those that are listed on the wall to help maintain the wall and honor their service, but also just to remember them. So they know that their family members or their buddies are always remembered, never forgotten.
I mean, it's chronological, so it took me a while to find them, but I know where they're at.
Vietnam veteran Les Davison volunteers whenever he can.
Some of my guys are on the wall, and every single one of them, every name on there deserves a lot of respect and a lot of remembrance, and that's why I'm here.
Okay, I need more salt.
Respect is also why the Lees refer to those honored here as aunt and uncle.
It's not because they're related to us, but they did something that is beyond measures.
The wall washing stops in the winter but starts up again in early spring. In Washington, Tina Giuliano, Cronkite News.
Elders on the Navajo Nation are without electricity. We'll tell you what volunteers are doing to lend a warm helping hand during the winter months.
The weather around Phoenix is just beautiful today. Let's take a look at the weather around the valley.
Thank you for joining us for the special edition of Cronkite News. Here are the top stories that we're tracking today at noon.
Some of the best players for their program.
Here we go. Lights up. Whoa.
As artists, we conduct our educations in public. You can never know whether it's going to be a success. One just has to risk it.
It's you and the work and the place. It's a very particular relationship.
Here's our lens. Tell us what you think.
Friday night at 9 on Arizona PBS.
Firewood is a vital heat source to many residents on the Navajo Nation. However, some elders and families lack the monetary or physical means to keep themselves warm throughout the winter. Delivering firewood is a serious task for the organization Chiz for Chay, or CFC, because the survival of many elders on the Navajo Nation depend on it.
Chiz for Chay means firewood for Grandpa. It's obvious. We don't want people to freeze. We don't want them to, pass on because they were neglected.
Lauren Anthony and his nonprofit have devoted the last 9 years doing everything in their power to bring firewood to elders at risk of death due to exposure.
We're trying to bring back the old warrior ways of life, the old let's help our communities out, let's help our people, let's help our neighbors.
Many Navajo homes lack modern infrastructure. According to the Navajo Housing Authority, 89% of homes on the reservation are heated by wood or pellet stoves. CFC delivers over 80 free loads of firewood to elders and families in need on the Navajo Nation each year. However, the origins of the organization root from something more than just volunteering. It began as a way for Anthony and people with similar struggles to battle addiction to drugs and alcohol. Providing for the community in this way helped them make amends.
But little did I know that this would be my new addiction and also help other people in recovery as well.
Volunteers with Chiz for Chay spend 3 days every week stockpiling firewood to prepare for delivery. The number of volunteers varies. Sometimes it's just Anthony. Other times, large groups come to help. But to CFC, it's the gratitude they receive for their work that keeps them going.
It is very emotional when you go and you deliver to these elders and you just see, the way that they're living and how they're forgotten. You just feel good about yourself, good about your crew, good about, what you're doing in general.
There's no price on just that feeling that you get after, this could mean somebody's life.
The organization is largely funded through donations, with GoFundMe and PayPal solicitations. But it's a shoestring operation, and even if the money and resources aren't there, they continue their work.
To be able to provide as much firewood before the next storm is always a challenge. But the thing is this is native life. This is how we roll. And when we roll this way, we also know how to be resilient, how to be resourceful.
And not even the tallest tree, the farthest stockpile, or a pandemic that has affected their people at the highest rate in the country can get in their way. Since the pandemic, CFC has extended its usual stockpiling season to ensure their goal of no cold elders is reached. To help out, you can donate to their GoFundMe found on social media.
Speaking of keeping warm, Arizona is expected to see lots of weather changes in the upcoming days. Meteorologists are predicting lower temperatures, strong winds, and rain in the lower deserts. Temps should stay around the 60s and low 70s here in the valley this week, but it's going to be even colder up north, with lows in the single digits and the teens. And there's snow. The flakes will continue to fall today along the Mogollon Rim and northeast Arizona and the White Mountains before we dry out across the state tonight.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thanks for joining us.